The 3rd of August, lobster season has just begun. The weather is not giving the guys a break, but I know they will keep at it on the 3rd of August, 2021. It's amazing to see how many families from Abaco has been flocking to Florida. And I'm watching the news. I know many of us doesn't have a television. It took me over a year before I could get television and see what's going on with the news. We haven't had a newspaper sold in Abaco in over 2 years. So the news that everybody else get, 65% of us doesn't get it. But if you're traveling, you ought to have gotten it. That Florida, the Delta virus is up over 112% thereabout. And if this was in the Bahamas, the American government would have put up a travel advisory long time ago. Here is our government. I don't know what the Minister of Health is doing, or he's not informed. He's not watching the same Florida channel that I'm watching. But there should have been advisory advising people that's going to Florida or what they're facing. Maybe there is such advisory out, but it missed Kai Mills. But if it's not out, it ought to be out. One of the problems I think we have is that we have an engineer that is the Minister of Health in these trying times. That is so far this F&M government that's going on to having some brain. I don't know if I'm correct, but I think we're the only country in the Caribbean that has a health minister that doesn't know about health. He's not a doctor. You think by now we had a doctor, we couldn't have had another doctor in charge of health and know what he's talking about? If you take your families to Florida, like many people has taken them, the first thing they're gonna do in Florida that they don't usually do here is take off the mask. Because in Florida, it's against the law to wear masks in most instances. The governor of Florida said that absolutely no kids wear masks in school. No, he's playing politics. But Bahamians see people out there without mask on, so of course they're gonna look indifferent, so they're not gonna wear no mask. And these same people that you're going in contact with, they're filled with the Delta virus themselves and they don't know. So what happens if you get the Delta virus while you're over there? That means you got to pocket up more money. If you're in the hotel, you got to quarantine for another 2 weeks. Do you have the money to quarantine for another 2 weeks? We have people right here in Abaco that came back from Florida, didn't even know they had the virus until they came back here and got sick. So that means they brought it from Florida into Abaco. Just this week, we had 4 persons had to fly on an emergency flight from Hopetown. I had a couple of calls last week that Baker's Bay had the hazmat team out there, all dressed down in their suit, and they detect that persons on Baker's Bay tested positive for COVID-19. Guess what happened? Guess what the caring management of Baker's Bay did? Instead of they doing the decent thing to protect their workers, they put the persons that have tested positive for COVID-19 on Baker's Bay, And they put them on a ferry with over 100 persons. Like, how could this happen? They did it more than once. But the people on the ferry, you're calling me. You have a camera. You have a phone. I know you want your job, but it's your job worth your life. It's your job at Baker's Bay worth the mistake or the uncare, unheartless ways of management at Baker's Bay to put somebody on a ferry that they know has tested positive with hundreds of people. That ain't no place I want to work. Because that one person could infect the 100, especially with the breeze blowing, the air condition moving on the boat. That one person could cause an epidemic. And Baker's Bay management don't care. Black lives don't matter. I did something this week saying that black lives don't even matter to black people anymore. Because if they see something, say something. This Delta virus is a death sentence. And Baker's Bay management they got all kind of speedboats. They could put these persons on a private boat and bring them home. Treat them like a human. When the Mexicans got COVID-19, they brought them on a boat by themselves, all by themselves, put them in a taxi. The taxi didn't even know they had COVID-19. And they had an airplane at the airport waiting to carry them to doctors' hospitals. This is the Mexicans they did this to. But the black workers, they put them on the ferry just like the ship, the good ship Jesus, that they brought all the slaves from America. They put this person that has COVID-19 on the ship, the Daisy, with all of their other employees and didn't give a hell whether he or she transmitted it to everybody. That is why Kai speak. I got a lot of information, but I asked him quite fair. You gonna vote for Kai? You asked me to speak about certain thing. Did you call Minister Henfield? Did you explain to Minister Henfield the problem was going on in Baker's Bay? Did you call Minister Henfield and explain what's going on at the Abaco Club with the South African racist manager that's selling your home and you have a mortgage? And he's here under the pleasure of the Bahamian people through work permit. Just a piece of paper. Got the manager of the Abaco Club and the manager of Baker's Bay Club, Baker's Bay, here, and y'all don't want to speak out. I wish I had about 20 of me. You know what it is to have 20 people like me that speak out and speaking out not for self. I'm speaking for people because I want to be a servant at a higher level to show you how this thing should be. Has any other issues been addressed? Kai speak about it because I say to myself, and I'm prepared to do better because I can do better. And I always use that conjunction. If, what, why, when, all those conjunction. What if Kai Mills was your member of parliament? This wouldn't happen more than once. I'll drop the gauntlet. But persons got to step. There is nobody that speaks for the people of Baker's Bay. 500 employees. Nobody's to speak to you, for you. You can't speak. Miss Lightboyne and Dr. Vincent Marshall, they don't get a hell about black lives. All they're doing is brown nosing, making sure that they get theirs. They will say to you quite point blunt, suck it up, deal with it. Well, you're in charge of human resources. Why you're not dealing with it? The only thing human resources is good for in Baker's Bay and the Abaco Club is the white employee, white manager, to dictate to them, send the black brutes home. Ask them when last time they sent a white person home. They had a guy in Baker's Bay that threw a knife at a young lady. Did the human resources call him in? She reported to the police. Was he charged? Was he brought before the court? No. They work it out. The courts in Abaco is it's like Clorox bleach. So white boys tell me, it's like Clorox bleach. It's good for the whites, but it destroys the black. I see it every day. I'm an example of what happens. But why is there not a travel advisory warning Abaconians and the rest of the Bahamas that the spike in the Delta virus that is more potent than the original COVID-19 is up over 100% in the state of Florida? If we had somebody besides who we got as the Minister of Health, you ought to know. But Kai cares. And I'm saying, whoa. You can't love your family to bring them into such worseness. If you miss it over there and they take your test, 9 chances of 10 when you get back here, you're going to find out that you have the Delta virus. There goes Abaco. And it's only because the Ministry of Health does not know their job, and nor do they care. Kai cares. That's why I'm warning all Abaconians, stay out of the state of Florida. Your life and your family life is at stake. Kai cares. That's why he's here.